When I got home today, this K&F Concept light stand was waiting for me, so we're gonna go ahead and unbox it, test it out, and see if it's worth your money. So let's get into it. Hey, I'm Scott and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, we do all kinds of unboxings, tests, tutorials, reviews, anything photo and video related. So if you like the content today, please do consider hitting that subscribe button below the video and also hitting that little bell icon to make sure you get notifications when new content is uploaded. So first off, the box is, nothing special, pretty basic. Let's open this up and see what's inside. Okay, so first impressions are nice. I mean, it comes with a little case, which is not true for all light stands. I'm not sure how durable or well made this case is, but it doesn't matter because a lot of light stands don't even come with one. Alright, so first up, boring stuff. You get a little plastic bag with instructions and a tool. Let me just make sure that's all that's in there. Of course, you get your instructions, which it's a light stand. I don't think you need all that many instructions for it, but it tells you what each of these different parts are. It tells you some of the specs. It says that this weighs itself just under 1 kilogram, just under 2 pounds. It can hold up to 4 kilograms or around 9 pounds. When it's folded up like this, it's exactly 50 centimeters or just under 20 inches. And when you're using it, the maximum height is about 200 centimeters, which is pretty tall, 2 meters. Or about 80 inches, just under 80 inches. You also get 2 Allen wrenches in here, which appear to be exactly the same size, so just in case you lose one, I guess. And these are going to be to tighten up these legs if you need to, if you find them coming loose. I'm not sure if they will over time or not. I guess that will stand to see over time, but you do have some tools included in there. And then there's the light stand itself, and it does feel to be about as heavy as I would expect it to be just by looking at it. Not lighter, not heavier. The feet down here are rubber. The tubes are aluminum, and then these parts which connect it feel like they're plastic. The interesting part about this light stand is that although it is a light stand, it kind of works like a tripod does. So you can see here that these legs are actually folded back on itself, and then you would extend it, and it has these locks here that you can use to position these legs either taller, or as you lift them up, you can ratchet it into some different positions for lower or higher legs. So that will give you some height or stability depending on how you have it set up. So you can see here that these legs do spread out quite wide if you open them up all the way to their flattest position. And it doesn't fit on this camera here, but you can kind of see how wide they are. And typically a light stand will have something connecting these 3 legs that gives it a little bit of extra stability. So I'm guessing that's why this has only a 4 kilogram payload, because as you push down on this with heavier loads, it would just snap these legs off, because this is the only point where these are holding on to this central shaft here. But for smaller lights, for speed lights, for even smaller cameras, if you wanted to put something on here, that might be fine. So I'm gonna push this, and I'm not necessarily gonna break it, but I'm gonna see how much I can push it before I feel like it's not safe anymore. Before that though, let's take a look at these locks here. And again, these are plastic, but they are flip style locks. Feels like it extends pretty smoothly there. So again, as long as these hold tight enough, which again, we're gonna kind of check it out in a second here, then I think that I like these flip style locks better. I do have some other stands with flip style locks, and I use those a lot. On more expensive stands like C stands, something that turns and gets really nice and tight is of course best because it's going to give you the most strength. But on cheaper stands, if you have that type of tightening knob, you can often tighten them too much and the weaker metal will bend over time, and at some point it's not easy to extend and collapse the actual stand anymore because it's bent inside the tube. So especially for a cheaper stand, for something that's not going to be so heavy duty, I do like these flip style locks a lot better because it's just easier and faster. On the top here, you have a pretty common little connector pin here, so you could throw stuff on here just like it is, and it does have that little indentation, so if you're tightening things on for a little bit of safety, it won't come off of there too easily. And you do have a 1/4 screw thread on the top there as well, so if you have any kind of ball head or other accessory that you want to put on top of here using that screw, you can use that as well. And also, once again, drawing some similarities to a tripod, you actually do have this little hook underneath here which is spring loaded into there, but you can pull it out if you want to put a bag or something hanging on there to give this again a little bit more of stability in that center of gravity at the bottom there, again just like a tripod would have. Alright, so with the legs at the highest position here and nothing else extended, you can see it's just about at waist level here. If I open the legs all the way up here, The lowest possible position that I could use this at is right above my knees here. So it can go pretty low, which is very, very useful because usually you have to buy a whole different stand if you want something that goes this low, and then you have to buy a different stand for something that goes higher. But this can kind of do it all, so I think that's actually going to be very, very useful for me. With the legs in this medium position here is probably where I would say it's closest to the footprint of a standard light stand, so we're going to check out the rest of this video using it at this position here. So let's go ahead and extend all three of these sections, just see how high this can go. It said 200 meters as a max. So this is again with the legs in the medium position. I could go a little bit higher if I put them up in that tallest position, but it's not going to have a whole lot of stability at that point. But this is above my head now, so that's quite high. So again, like I said, being able to go from a very short stand to a very high stand is definitely going to be a strong point of the stand for me. At this point though, since it's relatively thin and there's a lot of plastic in here, it's obviously not going to be super stable. So once again, keep in mind that there's a 4 kilogram payload here, probably not only for the strength of the legs and the buckles here, but just in terms of safety of what you could reasonably expect to use on here. So next up, I just want to put some stuff on here, see how heavy I can get it before I feel like these buckles might start slipping or the legs might start wishboning or something like that. You can see here as I'm pushing down on it, it actually is holding up pretty well, even with a good amount of force put into it. So for smaller things like smaller cameras with a ball head or a speed light, even with an umbrella or something, it's going to be no problem. So we're going to start from something that I think might be a little bit more of a challenge. We're going to just skip over that first category of light stuff that you can put on here. Before that though, it is worth pointing out that I do like that you can actually spread these legs out even wider so they're almost flat. It's going to make it a lot easier to put some weight on there, like a sandbag or something, if you just want to make sure that things are not going to tip over. Typically with, you know, these angled leg light stands, it's going to be a little bit more tricky to put weight on there, but just make this flat, put some sandbags on there or some other stuff just to hold it down, and it's going to be a lot more stable. This is the Godox AD400 Pro. This is about 2 kilograms including the battery, so let's put that on there, tighten it down. At this point, at this height, I would definitely want to spread the legs out a little bit wider and put something on there for stability, but generally speaking, I'm not worried about the stand itself at all. These buckles don't feel anywhere close to slipping under the weight. The legs feel totally fine again, especially at this height. Let's put them a little bit wider. Like I said, I want to do that, so just to make sure there's no problems with that as it's spread out a little bit wider. There's going to be a little bit more stress on the joints there. No problem whatsoever. I wouldn't hesitate putting this on here, even with a large softbox. I can't find anything that's close to that 4 kilogram mark, so I'm just gonna put this little table on top of here and start throwing things like V-mount batteries on here to add up the weight to about 4 kilograms. So this one here is about 1.5 kilograms. This is about a half kilogram, so bring it up to 2 kilograms. Once again, up to 2.5 kilograms. One more, up to 3 kilograms now. Here's another, that's about a half kilogram, so this will bring it up to 3.5 kilograms. And this last battery is about 1 or 1.5 kilograms, so this is gonna put it over that 4 kilogram limit, not to mention the fact that the table's on here. Let's go ahead and put that right on top. So with all of that on there, the locks still feel solid. The legs actually don't feel like they're gonna break and chicken bone out on me. Weight-wise, I don't think this is a problem. Again, the stability at this point is going to be more of a factor just because the pole itself is relatively thin. Because of the way that I have the legs spread out at the lowest position, I actually don't feel like it's going to fall over necessarily, but it's going to wobble a bit, and that may leave you feeling a little bit anxious. But this is still totally fine, so I'm actually going to go grab a 6 kilogram light, put that on here just to see, you know, just to prove to you that I can trust this stand. Alright, so I looked it up on the website, and this light should be about 6 kilograms, so let's go ahead and put that on there. Tighten it down. It's definitely wobbly, but no, that's going to be true of any of these cheaper light stands that have thinner poles there. But it's standing strong. Let's now grab one of the heaviest V-mount batteries that I have. This is about a 1 or 1.5 kilogram battery. Slap it on the back there, and if it fits this and I'm still not worried about it, we'll call it a day. I think this is going to be more than enough. So yeah, I'm very impressed with this light stand. I think it's going to be really, really useful. Like I said, it can go very low and it can also go pretty high. And it's going to fold up pretty compact, so it's going to be very easy to bring along, whether or not you use the carry case, which is also included. It says it has a max payload of 4 kilograms, but it clearly can hold more without any problems in terms of the buckles slipping or things breaking. Now, over time, of course, this does have plastic parts in it, so you're going to want to watch and make sure that if you're putting a lot of weight on it, it's not going to start cracking or getting worn down over time. But if you're using it under that weight limit, you shouldn't even have to worry about that. I think this will last you a long time with a reasonable amount of weight on here. A big part of this for me is that it's going to be really easy to sandbag or put some weight on the bottom for extra stability to make sure it's not going to fall over, which you can't really do with other light stands that have that same kind of angle of the leg type build. But you can put this really, really flat at the bottom there, and that's going to allow you to get that maximum amount of stability. Not to mention, that means you're going to be able to put it in closer to things like tables. You're going to be able to put it closer to other light stands. It's going to have that clearance because the legs are so low, it can just slide right under stuff, under desks, and it's going to make it a little bit easier to use in tight spaces. So if you're thinking about grabbing this light stand for yourself, I would highly recommend it. I'm definitely going to be using this myself around the studio and out on shoots. And if you have any questions about it, do leave those down below and I will do my best to get back to you. But otherwise, if you like the content, please do hit the like button, and remember to subscribe if you're not already with the little button under the video. Just click that, hit the bell icon to make sure you get notifications. And otherwise, as always, thank you for watching.